What does it matter where you live? It's a question as old as humanity. Our ancestors first traveled the world as nomads, but once we started farming and putting down less literal roots, the land beneath our feet became a crucial part of our identity. A handful of millennia later, and it's still the question driving the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Why must Israelis live in what they call Israel? Why must Palestinians live in what they call Palestine? It's also a question that positively flummoxes Israeli historian and author Yuval Noah Harari, as he said on my show last year.
The land is not good. You can grow olives or something. There are no oil fields. There are no gold mines. Nothing. But in their imagination, it's full of angels and gods and saints and prophets. And they fight over this.
And yet there is more tying Israelis and Palestinians to these pieces of land than just, quote, angels and gods and saints and prophets. There's also a shared history of displacement.
The time of surrender has come.
By the time the Nazis surrendered in 1945, 2 out of every 3 Jews in Europe have been killed. Most of those who survived made up a good chunk of an unprecedented 65 million displaced Europeans by the end of World War II. Israel's founders envisioned their new nation as a refuge for the Jewish people, but also as a way to literally put Jewish identity on the map. As Nobel laureate and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel once put it, "I can live as a Jew outside Israel, but not without Israel." Palestinians, of course, have their own history of displacement. They call the establishment of the Jewish state the Nakba, or the catastrophe.
The port of Haifa in Palestine lies shattered by bombs and strewn with dead.
The 1948 Arab-Israeli War uprooted 750,000 Palestinians, 80% of their population. Gaza's population alone grew from around 80,000 before the 1948 war to around 280,000. Roughly 3 out of every 4 Gazans after 1948 were refugees from areas that had become Israel. Now look ahead to February 4th, 2025. With a fragile ceasefire holding between Israel and Hamas, President Trump stands beside Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a Washington press conference. Trump stuns the world, and apparently Netanyahu, by proposing to take over the Gaza Strip and turn it into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. To the thousands of displaced Gazans, he says, don't go back.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site.
Trump is not wrong that Gazans have gone through hell, and many, at least some, may indeed be happy to start over elsewhere than rebuild in rubble. But what Trump's remarks failed to capture, drone footage did. On January 27th, just days after the ceasefire went into effect, thousands and thousands of Palestinians determinedly, and some even joyfully, marched by foot up the Mediterranean coastline to return to their leveled homes in North Gaza. President Trump is asking Gazans the same thing I asked you moments ago. What does it matter where you live? And honestly, it is a fair question for him to ask, though he's not exactly posing the same question to Israeli settlers on the West Bank. But if the region's bloody history has shown us anything, it's not so much asking the question that matters, but who gets to answer it.